The most dangerous moment in your life isn't when someone walks away from you. It's when you finally realize that you've been disappearing slowly, piece by piece, inside relationships where you were the only one trying. You gave your time, your love, your patience, your peace. And what did you get back? Silence. Excuses. People who showed up only when they needed something from you. If you've ever felt like the most loyal person in rooms full of people who barely notice you exist, tap that subscribe button right now and let me explain what's really happening to you. Let me ask you something honest. When was the last time someone asked how you were doing and actually waited for the real answer? Not the polite one, not the fine, thanks one. The real one. The one where you say, I'm breaking. I'm tired. I'm holding everyone together while falling apart inside. I bet you can't remember. And that's not an accident. That's a pattern. A pattern you've been living in for so long, you started to think it was normal. You've spent years being the dependable one. The one who answers the phone at midnight. The one who lends money you can't really spare. The one who shows up to every funeral, every wedding, every crisis. You remember birthdays. You send the messages first. You apologize even when you didn't do anything wrong. And somewhere along the way, you became the emotional ATM that everyone withdraws from but nobody deposits into. And it's slowly killing you. Not in a dramatic way. In a quiet way. The way a candle dies. Burning at both ends until there's nothing left but smoke. You laugh less than you used to. You cry in places where nobody can see. You feel a heaviness when your phone rings because you already know what they want. And it's never about you. It's never just to hear your voice. It's always a favor wrapped in a hello. Carl Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. That's what's been happening to you. You've been calling this exhaustion fate. You've been calling this loneliness destiny. You've been calling this one-sided love a relationship. But it's not fate. It's a pattern. And patterns can be broken the moment you finally see them clearly. Did that hit something deep inside you? Drop a comment below and subscribe so you don't miss part 2 of this conversation, because what's coming next is going to wake something up in you. Here's what too much giving does to a person over time. It rewires you. You stop knowing what you actually want. You stop knowing what you actually feel. You become so focused on reading other people's emotions that you forget how to read your own. Someone walks into a room and you immediately scan their mood. Are they okay? Are they upset? Do I need to fix something? Meanwhile, your own inner world is a foreign country you haven't visited in years. You become a stranger to yourself. You catch your reflection in a window and pause because something looks off. Your eyes look older. Your shoulders sit heavier. Your face holds expressions you don't remember choosing. You used to laugh easily. You used to dream out loud. You used to have opinions that took up space. Now you nod. You smile. You go along. You shrink. And you call it being easygoing, but really it's being erased. The people in your life don't see it. They can't see it because they've been comfortable for so long inside the version of you that requires nothing. When you don't ask for anything, they don't have to give anything. When you don't have needs, they don't have to grow. When you keep being available, they never learn to be considerate. Your endless giving is the reason they've never had to evolve. And they have no incentive to start now. This is what happens to people who give too much and receive nothing. They become emotional servants in their own lives. They start to feel invisible at family dinners. They start to feel small at work. They start to feel forgotten in friendships they built from scratch. They start saying things like, maybe I'm just too sensitive. Maybe I expect too much. Maybe this is all I deserve. None of that is true. But you've heard those lies so often, you've started saying them to yourself. And here's the part that really hurts. The more you give, the less they value you. That's not how it should work, but it is how it works. Human beings don't appreciate what comes easy. They appreciate what they have to earn. When you make yourself endlessly available, you accidentally teach people that you have no value. You become the free option, the one they don't have to think twice about, the one they can take for granted because you've made it so easy to do so. Are you tired of being the one who shows up for everyone while no one shows up for you? Subscribe and hit the bell if you want more truths like this, because we're just getting started. Now I want you to picture something. Imagine you're holding a bucket full of water. That bucket is your energy, your love, your time, everything you have to give. Every time you help someone, you pour a little out. Every time you say yes when you wanted to say no, you pour a little out. Every time you bite your tongue, swallow your needs, hide your truth, you pour a little out. And you never refill the bucket. You just keep pouring. Then one day you reach for the bucket and there's nothing left. Not a drop. And the people who drank from your bucket their whole lives suddenly look at you with confusion. They say, "What happened to you? You used to be so giving. You used to be so warm. You used to be so easy." And you realize painfully that they never loved you. They loved what you did for them. There's a huge difference. And that difference is breaking your heart right now. Because deep down, you always knew. You knew when she didn't call you on your birthday. You knew when he didn't ask how you were after your loss. You knew when they only reached out when they needed something. You knew when the conversation was always about them. You knew, but you stayed. You kept hoping. You kept giving. You kept telling yourself maybe next time will be different. It never was. And that's not your fault. But staying was your choice. I'm not telling you this to make you feel guilty. I'm telling you this because you need to stop blaming yourself for being kind. Your kindness was beautiful. Your generosity was real. Your love was true. The problem was never your heart. The problem was where you planted it. You kept planting your love in soil that couldn't grow anything. You kept watering relationships that had no roots. And then you cried when nothing bloomed. You have to stop watering dead things. That's the lesson. That's the whole lesson. Some relationships are not meant to grow. Some people are not meant to stay. Some bonds are not meant to last forever. And the day you accept that is the day you stop dying in slow motion. Because you only have so much water in you. You only have so much life. And you don't get to waste it on people who treat you like an option. Has this ever happened to you? Drop a yes in the comments and subscribe to join thousands of people who are finally choosing themselves after years of choosing everyone else. Here's something I want you to really understand. The exhaustion you're feeling is not weakness. It's wisdom. Your body has been trying to tell you something for years. Your soul has been whispering for years. And you've been ignoring it because you were too busy being strong for everyone else. But your body keeps the score. Your soul keeps the record. And eventually they stop whispering and start screaming. That's what burnout really is. It's not just being tired. It's your spirit going on strike. It's your inner self saying, "I refuse to keep funding a life where I get nothing in return." The headaches, the chest tightness, the random tears, the feeling of dread when you wake up, the numbness when good things happen. These aren't random symptoms. These are messages. Your body is begging you to stop, to listen, to choose differently. And the scariest part is you've gotten so good at ignoring yourself that you don't even know what you want anymore. Someone asks you what you'd like for dinner and you say, "I don't know. What do you want?" Someone asks what movie you want to watch and you say whatever you pick is fine. Someone asks where you want to go on vacation and you say wherever makes you happy. You've outsourced every decision to other people because somewhere along the way you decided your preferences didn't matter. This is the cost of being a chronic giver. You forget you're a person with desires. You become a service, a function, a role. You're not Sarah anymore. You're the cousin who helps everyone move. You're not Michael anymore. You're the friend who always picks up the phone. You're not Maria anymore. You're the daughter who keeps the family together. Your name is replaced by your usefulness. And when you stop being useful, you wonder if you'll still be loved. The honest answer terrifies you. But here's the powerful truth. If they only love you when you're useful, that was never love. That was a transaction. That was a deal you didn't know you were signing. And you don't owe loyalty to a deal that was never fair to you in the first place. You can walk away. You can rewrite the terms. You can refuse to keep paying with your peace. Nobody can stop you. The only person standing between you and that freedom is the voice in your head that keeps telling you you're being mean. Does this sound like someone you know who needs to hear it? Share this video with them and subscribe for more conversations that actually matter. Let me explain something about the psychology of giving. There's a concept called emotional labor. It's the invisible work of managing other people's feelings, smoothing over tension, keeping the peace, being the emotional caretaker in every room you enter. Most chronic givers don't even know they're doing this. They just know they're tired, but they can't figure out why because none of it shows up on a paycheck or a to-do list. It's invisible, but it's real, and it's heavy. You've been carrying emotional labor for people who never even noticed. You've been the family therapist, the relationship counselor, the friend group peacemaker. You've been holding space for everyone's pain while having no space of your own. And the worst part is, when you finally try to talk about your own struggles, suddenly everyone is busy. Suddenly nobody has time. Suddenly the conversation gets uncomfortable. That tells you everything you need to know about who they really are. People who love you can handle your hard days. People who use you can only handle your good days. Remember that. Write it down. Tattoo it on your soul. The ones who scatter when you're struggling were never your people. The ones who lean in when you're broken are the only ones worth keeping. Everyone else is just background noise. Beautiful, distracting, demanding background noise. But noise nonetheless. You have to start auditing your relationships. Not in a cold way, in a clear way. Ask yourself who actually shows up for me. Who actually checks on me without needing something? Who actually celebrates my wins? Who actually wants to know how I'm doing on a regular Tuesday when nothing dramatic is happening? Make that list. It's going to be shorter than you thought. And that's okay. A short list of real people beats a long list of fake ones every single time. The fear that keeps you giving too much is the fear of being alone. You think if you stop giving, you'll lose them. The honest truth is, you can't lose people who were never really there. They were always going to leave, or they were always going to stay only as long as you were useful. Either way, you weren't safe with them. And being alone is not the worst thing. Being surrounded by people who don't truly see you, that's the worst thing. That's a deeper loneliness than any empty room. Do you recognize this pattern in your life right now? Subscribe and tell me your story below. Every comment matters. Every voice counts. And you are not as alone as you think you are. Now I want to give you something practical, something you can actually use. The first step out of this pattern is the smallest one. It's the pause. Just the pause. Before you say yes, pause. Before you offer help, pause. Before you take on someone else's problem, pause. Ask yourself one question. Do I actually have the capacity for this right now? Not, can I make it work? Not, can I push through? Do I have it to give without resenting it later? If the answer is no, the answer is no. You don't have to explain your number. Let me say that again. You don't have to explain your number. No is a complete sentence. So is I can't. So is not this time. So is I need to take care of myself right now. The people who deserve to stay in your life will respect those answers. The people who push back, who guilt trip you, who get angry, are showing you exactly why your no was necessary in the first place. Their reaction is the proof that the boundary was needed. And here's a beautiful thing that happens when you start saying no. You start meeting the real you, the one buried under decades of yes. You discover what you actually like, what you actually want, what you actually believe. You find your voice again, the one you lost somewhere in your 20s or 30s, trying to be everything to everyone. She's still in there, waiting, patient, loving, ready to come home to herself. All she needs is permission, and you're the only one who can give it. You also start to feel something strange. Guilt. A lot of guilt. That guilt is not a sign you did something wrong. That guilt is a sign you did something new. Guilt and growth often look the same in the beginning. You have to learn to sit with the guilt without letting it run you. You have to learn to recognize it as the discomfort of breaking an old pattern, not as evidence that you're a bad person. You're not bad. You're brave. Those two feelings just feel similar when you're not used to either. The transformation isn't fast. It isn't pretty. It isn't going to look like the movies. You'll mess up. You'll slip back into old habits. You'll say yes when you meant to say no and feel angry at yourself afterward. That's part of it. Don't quit because you're not perfect. Quit the people who require your perfection. Keep the people who love your progress. There's a difference between those two groups, and you're about to find out exactly who is who. Is this why you've been feeling so depleted lately? Subscribe and let me know in the comments where you are in this process. The first step is always recognition. Here's what I want you to know about the people who took from you. They probably aren't bad people. They're just people who learned that you would give without limits, and they took advantage of that without thinking too hard about it. Some of them genuinely care about you. They just never learned to show up. They never had to, because you always did. You filled every gap. You made every excuse. You absorbed every disappointment. And in doing so, you robbed them of the chance to grow into better humans. When you start setting boundaries, you give people the gift of finally having to choose. They have to choose to show up or to leave. They have to choose to put in effort or to admit they never will. They have to choose to see you as a whole person, not just a service. Some of them will rise to the occasion. They'll surprise you. They'll become better. They'll grow. And the relationship will deepen in beautiful ways. But some of them won't. Some of them will get angry. Some of them will guilt trip you. Some of them will try to manipulate you back into the old version of yourself. Some of them will disappear completely the moment you stop being useful. And those exits, painful as they are gifts. Because now you know. Now you don't have to wonder anymore. Now you have proof of who was really there for you and who was only there for what you gave them. You will grieve those losses. Don't skip the grief. Grief is the proof that you loved deeply. Grief is the price of having a heart that gave freely. You're allowed to cry over people who didn't deserve your tears. You're allowed to miss people who didn't miss you back. You're allowed to mourn the version of the relationship you thought you had. That grief is real. Let it pass through you. Don't let it trap you. Feel it and then let it go, like water flowing through your hands. And then something wonderful starts to happen. You make room for new people, real people, people who match your energy, people who reciprocate, people who notice you, people who text you first sometimes, people who remember your birthday, people who ask how you really are and wait for the real answer. These people exist. They've been waiting for you to make space for them. But you couldn't because your life was full of people who didn't belong there anymore. Have you been pretending everything is fine when it's clearly not? Subscribe and drop your honest truth in the comments below. This is a safe space to finally tell the truth. You are entering a new season of your life. I can feel it. You're not the same person who started watching this video. Something cracked open in you. Some truth landed. Some old story started to die. And that's exactly what was supposed to happen, because you didn't come here by accident. You came here because some part of you was finally ready. Some part of you was finally tired enough to want something different. Honor that part. Listen to that part. Follow that part. The new you is going to feel uncomfortable at first. You're going to feel selfish when you're really just being self-aware. You're going to feel mean when you're really just being honest. You're going to feel cold when you're really just being clear. Don't let those feelings stop you. They are just old wiring trying to keep you safe in a pattern that was actually destroying you. Walk through the discomfort. The freedom on the other side is worth every uncomfortable step. You are going to become someone untouchable, not because you stopped caring, but because you finally started caring about yourself with the same intensity you cared about everyone else. That energy is powerful. It changes the way you walk into rooms. It changes the way people respond to you. It changes the way you respond to people. You stop chasing. You stop begging. You stop performing. You start standing, and standing in your own life is the most sovereign thing you can ever do. Your peace is the most valuable thing you own. Not your money, not your job, not your accomplishments. Your peace. Protect it like your life depends on it, because it does. Anyone who repeatedly disturbs your peace does not belong close to you. It doesn't matter who they are. Family, friend, partner, coworker. Distance is not cruelty. Distance is wisdom. You can love someone from far away. You can wish them well without inviting them back into your inner circle. That's not bitterness. That's growth. You are not too much. You were just surrounded by people who were comfortable with too little. You were not difficult. You were just done being easy to mistreat. You were not selfish. You were just finally remembering that you matter too. Repeat these truths until they live in your bones, until they're louder than the old lies, until they become the foundation you build the rest of your life on. So if you've been giving too much and receiving nothing, hear me clearly one final time. That chapter is closing. Not because the world finally became fair, but because you finally became wise. You finally saw the pattern. You finally chose yourself. And from this moment forward, you will give from overflow, not from emptiness. You will love from strength, not from fear. You will stay only where you are truly seen, truly valued, truly chosen. You are reclaiming your power. You are reclaiming your peace. You are reclaiming your name. You are reclaiming your life. And nobody gets to take any of that from you again. Not without your permission. And you are done giving that permission. That season is over. A new one is beginning. And it's going to be the most beautiful chapter you've ever lived. If this video made you feel something real, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe for more videos that actually understand you. I'll see you in the next one.